When I first met my plumber Bob was from Jefferson, and his invoice and accounting system was a Post-it note sticky system he'd had on his steering wheel and dashboard. He would have to put the invoices on the right side of the dashboard and his expenses on the left.
Welcome to the Small Business Safari, where I help guide you to avoid those traps, pitfalls, and dangers that lurk when navigating the wild world of small business ownership. I'll share those gold nuggets of information and invite guests to help accelerate your ascent to that mountaintop of success. It's a jungle out there, and I want to help you traverse through the levels of owning your own business that can get you bogged down and distract you from hitting your own personal and professional goals. So strap in, adventure team, and let's take a ride through the safari and get you to the mountaintop.
Hey, adventure team, it's Chris again, and it's Friday. Friday means let's get mini. Hopefully you're driving in between appointments, going out there, making money, doing what you got to do. We had a great episode on Tuesday where we talked to my current CRM provider, Vonago. I use Vonago for my CRM system, and I moved to them halfway through my business. In the beginning, I started out with a very small and simple CRM system, but a lot of us out there don't really use these. When I first met my plumber Bob was from Jefferson, and his invoice and accounting system was a Post-it note sticky system he'd had on his steering wheel and dashboard. He would have to put the invoices on the right side of the dashboard and his expenses on the left. Man, he was a riot. One of the best plumbers I've ever met in my life. But when I watched his whole CRM system, I asked him a question. I'm like, hey, Bob, when somebody calls you, what do you do? He says, I answer the phone. I'm like, Bob, you just answer the phone. Then what? Well, then I write down on a sticky note their address and I go out there and take a look at it. I said, then what? He goes, then I tell them how much it is. And if they wanted me to send them an invoice, I'd have to make another sticky note and send it to them. If you want to scale your business, you want to do home services the right way, you can start that way. You can be Bob, but you can't always do this and scale the way you want to. So I use Vonago, and we brought Nabeel in, who is employee number 1 for Vonago. We've used this web-based application and system in my business now for 5 years, and it's really helped me scale the business. It's helped me scale and help me monitor and see how things are going, because as soon as that customer calls in, we then convert that prospect into a potential customer. We'll go out there and maybe do an estimate, but we can keep track of everything that we're doing going on there. What's exciting about doing all that is that when we're done, we can actually invoice out of the same system. So I don't have to go work on the Post-it note sticky system. I get to use a CRM system to help scale. And in home services, the only way to scale is people. And if you want to scale with people, you got to have good processes. And behind those processes, you got to have a system. The hardest part with a system, though, is converting to it. The people will always tell you that, go ahead. Let's go switch to this technology program. Let's go just to this technology. Hey, just start using Google Drive. Oh, I'm going to get to that one in a minute. And you go, well, wait a minute, man. What about the process behind it? You're like, it's easy technology. You can just do it. The problem is when you start to change from one system to another, and you have a bunch of employees that are counting on you to make the right call, and you're counting on them to do all the work that you're expecting them to do, you got to make sure that that system lines up, but you got to have your processes set up first, man. And that's the hardest part. I spent 6 months before I switched the system to make sure that I understood the processes. So that's one thing, but let me tell you about a story in Google Drive. And today I have the very good pleasure to have Michael Dees with me, who Michael is the behind the scenes podcast producer for us while he's also going to school. Michael, say hi to everybody.
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me on.
That's awesome to have you in here. He is back on break and in here, and Michael helps me with a number of things. And one of the things he helped me with is I have a way that I distributed documents to him, and that was called email. And he said, Chris, what do you think about Google Drive? Didn't you?
That's for sure.
And I didn't want to do it in the beginning. And he said,
it's great.
He did say it was great. You can tell he's a very loquacious individual, but
Yep.
He made me switch to Google Drive, and I did it. And now we pass back and forth files while he's at school. He helps me with my social media and getting this word out about this great podcast. And he also makes me sound really good when I get out there. So I said, hey, man, why don't you come in studio with me for a little bit since you're off break? And I'm going to put you on the mic. And he said,
no, thank you. But I did it anyways.
That's right, everybody. He said, no, thank you, but I made him do it anyways. So let's summarize what we heard this week. In the CRM system, you got to make a good choice and have a good partner. You better have the right processes to do this. you better make sure that it's going to work. But you don't need that Lamborghini when you're getting out of the gates. And if you have to use the old postage system, like my plumber Bob would say, well, if I got to use a system, I think Post-it notes are just fine. You got to go to a CRM system that's going to work for you. In the meantime, keep going up that mountaintop for success, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Small Business Safari. Remember, your positive attitude will help you achieve that higher altitude you're looking for in the wild world of small business ownership. And until next time, make it a great day today.